What's going on, everybody? Welcome to the After Effect Podcast. I am your host, LeBron Stephen, but you can call me L Beezy, L Boogie, Big Brian, Brian, B Ryan, L Beezy, L Boogie, Bronny, LB, whatever you choose. Welcome to episode 49. We have a very special guest. Majesty Tutson is on the show today. I grew up in Iowa City, Iowa, attended the University of Iowa, where she was a discus and shot put thrower, and currently now is a coach at Alabama State, coaching shot putters and discus throwers as well. Super excited to have another former female athlete on the show as we try to expand the catalog and get more female perspectives on their athletic journey. So I just sent her the link, waiting for her to jump on. And once she jumps on, we will go. It's called the After Effect Podcast. I've been interviewing current and former athletes like ourselves because I feel like that transition out of your respective sport is all has been minimized, and so this is a free and safe space for us to kind of just talk about our journeys. I feel like you have a powerful story, especially with you coaching now. And I've been trying to get more females on. I think I think you may be the fourth female I've had on. So just trying to create some kind of diversity within the catalog. So I appreciate you carving out the time.
Yeah.
Yeah. So if you're cool with it, we can just dive right into it.
Okay.
I want to ask you one current event question before I dive into like where you grew up at and things like that. So how have you had to grow mentally, spiritually, emotionally in the past year? I think in like 2 weeks we'll be at a calendar year of being in the coronavirus pandemic, having to wear masks. We have
Mhm.
never walked through anything like this. The world has never shut down on us since we've been here. We've never had to wear masks anywhere unless you went to China or something like that. So how have you had to grow in those aspects, during these kind of unprecedented times where we just had to like kind of navigate and figure it out?
Um, I would say the biggest change for me would have been spiritually or faith wise. I feel like there's a lot of stuff, like even, of course, COVID, but like all the stuff that went on with the protests and with all the killings and, almost, like I don't want to say a race war. It wasn't, it didn't get to the point of a race war, but there was a lot
Yeah.
of tension, especially here in the South, where, this is like the birthplace of the civil rights movement and stuff. And I live in Montgomery, and, there's threats going on. There's, KKK sightings and things like that go on. And
Yeah.
it's kind of, I don't know. I feel like I prayed this year more than any other year I've been alive, which doesn't sound good for the rest of my life, but it's not like I don't pray. But in this year, I just felt like the world needed to be closer to God, almost like
Yeah.
we need to find the love of God somewhere in
Hmm.
ourselves. I feel like maybe spiritually was my biggest growth, and then of course being able having to work from home and being in the house, of course, makes you grow mentally, and you get tired of being in the four walls and everything like that. But
Right.
um, I'd say that was a challenge, but not as big as trying to keep your faith. You know what I'm saying? With everything going on.
Yeah, and you said it wasn't bad in Alabama because, like you said, that's the birthplace. So you would think it could get sticky or tricky.
No, I was saying it was. There was during the protests this summer, there was like threats from the KKK, and there was like, certain areas that they would warn. I work at a HBCU, and they would warn us to not go in certain areas where it's highly populated by white people, because that would be, where they're rallying and stuff like that, where they're starting their walks and marches and whatever they were doing, threatening black
Yeah.
people who were out there and things like that. So it got pretty bad here as far as the threats and stuff. I didn't hear of too many murders and stuff or hangings like I was hearing of it in other places, but there was a lot of talk of killing people like me. So
yeah, was there any fear involved when you were hearing things like that? Because I know, do you have any family in Alabama, or are you in Montgomery by yourself?
I'm here by myself, and so I have a brother in Florida, but Florida's a big state, so he lives like a 8-9 hour drive away from me. That's the
Yeah.
closest family I have, but um, I'm here by myself, and I personally, I don't. I mean, I have like a taser or like mace and stuff like that. I don't personally have
Okay.
guns. People were, telling me I should get a gun for sure because you live alone and you're, they'll mark you as a single female and things like that. And
Yeah.
so personally, I mean, I'm the type of person who will like stand up, and speak my mind about what's going on. And I have strong feelings about the killings and everything like that. But just trying to make it where I'm not being targeted was kind of a fear of mine. Like, don't do too much and put yourself so out there that people will target you and follow you, and like, people getting threats and beat up and
Yeah.
stuff
Yeah.
like that.
Definitely. Yeah. Yeah. That sounds like that sounds like a wild experience. I'm obviously I'm glad you came out on the other side, but even when I say coming out on the other side, it's like we're still walking through it. Like, even though we're about to be at a year, I guess they're rolling out the vaccination. So I mean, like I said earlier, we still just kind of navigating through it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So it's still a journey, and I don't think we've seen justice for a lot of things that went on, and if I'm being honest, I don't really expect to see the full extent of justice that I think we deserve.
Mm.
But I just feel like we're just gonna have to keep taking
Keep pushing. Yeah. Yeah.
taking try to make changes little at a time, because I just don't see us making leaps and bounds. You know what I'm saying? But if the small changes come, eventually, we'll be in a better place. So
Right. I totally agree. Like you said, I can attest to that and agree with that. I don't think major changes will take place, but like you said, if we keep picking at it, just small increments of improvement is better than no improvement at all, right? So,
right, exactly.
but it's still definitely frustrating. I can honestly say, and I can transparently say that I found myself, just getting a little emotional during this whole time, just being a black man, being black our whole lives, and knowing that I had to basically become numb to being treated wrongly because I was black. So, just so I could like live and like not like catch a case or get into a fight or things like that. And even Iowa City, and I know you grew up there, and we'll talk about it from your viewpoint. But even in Iowa City, obviously, I think a lot of people, just gas stations, different stores, I think a lot of people knew the football players and knew who they were. So for the most part, it was love. But and like closer to the freeway, like Coralville, in the area like that,
Mm-hmm.
still getting like weird looks, just going in to get gas, getting weird looks, like, or maybe them thinking that, we're like some kind of, I can only vouch for me, but weird looks, weird like language, like, you know what I mean? Maybe thinking like I'm like a thug or like a gangster from Chicago or something like that, when really I'm just a college student. But you're only getting gauged like that because of the color of your skin, because of how you look. Like,
Yeah.
especially me, tall, black, got a beard, stuff like that. They're not going to think that I'm a college student. They're going to think that I'm like a thug or something like that. So having to become numb to that, but still knowing that it's there, like it's annoying and it's frustrating because it's 2021 and we still go through it. I go through it in corporate
Yeah.
America, at my job. I go through it in the entertainment business. Whenever I book a gig, so that's the frustrating part. Like, we're still going through it. Like, we've been talking about this for all these years, but we're still going through it today.
Yeah, I felt I can't remember the quote like verbatim, but basically saying to be black and even slightly aware is to be in a rage all the time. I don't
Exactly.
kind of like this year, as bad as COVID is, and as much as COVID was, I mean, it is affecting a lot of people, but for me personally, I felt a lot more strongly about the country making changes, about killing people in the streets than I did about, finding a vaccine. I know that sounds weird to a lot of people, but you know what I'm saying? I want both things to happen, but I felt more attached to, clearly I'm biased because I'm Black and I don't like to see my brothers targeted. And, you know, a lot more men get targeted than females, but we get targeted as well. And it's absolutely crazy for me because a lot of times when you have these conversations that start from things like this, killings and riots and stuff like that, you know that there's in my mind, there's three groups of people who don't look like me, right? Like white, I could say white people. There's white people who are completely oblivious, like they have no idea what happens in the, you know, they grew up in a white neighborhood, they went to a white school, they went to a white college, they work in an all white place, and what they get in their mind of Black people is what the news portrays, which is obviously we're always called thugs and this and that. No matter what's happening, we could have been the victim. We're the ones who had weed in our pocket when we got killed. You know what I'm saying? It's not. They only see that what's portrayed in movies, and the media, and they really have no idea what goes on in the real communities of Black people, and they are truly ignorant of the facts. Not ignorant like it's stupid, but ignorant as in they just don't know. Right, ignorance, because they don't want to stop their ways, or it doesn't affect them. You know, the people who really get under my skin because you try to act like you don't know what's going on, and you say, you know, slavery's over, or racism doesn't still exist, or this, that, and the third, and it's not like you're ignorant. You know what goes on, and you just don't want to acknowledge it, and that gets under my skin. And then there's the all out, flat out, I'll tell you what it is, how I feel. I don't like it's not going to change. Those, not that I have any more respect for them, but I know you I know you by your face. You know what I'm saying? Mask what you're doing. There's no, you know what I'm saying? It's just out there. So I feel like it brings out, those conversations brought out a lot of who people are in this country, talking to people, you know what I'm saying? And I'm not saying all Black people are perfect, we all have the same view or anything like that. Like, but I will say that it is very interesting to have these conversations with people, with white people.
Exactly. And I think it's truly uncomfortable for them. You know what I mean? And it's like you said, because of their demographic, like, you know, growing up in a white neighborhood, going to a white school, going to a PWI, and then working for a company that's predominantly white. Like they never have to really have these kind of conversations. So like when you do try to have it, or you have to have it, you know, in the workplace or whatever the setting may be, like you said, it's super uncomfortable.
Yeah,
definitely. So let's dive into your childhood. I know you said, I believe.
Let me turn my phone on Do Not Disturb. I'm sorry.
Oh no, you good.
Go ahead.
Yeah, I know you said I think you were born in California, or you spent some of your childhood in California, and then you moved to Iowa City. Right. What age did you move to Iowa City?
I was fairly young. I was probably like 3 years old or something like that.
Okay, I got you. So paint me a picture. Like, walk me through your childhood growing up in Iowa City, Iowa. I mean, one thing for me when I went there for college, I hadn't looked at the statistics, but like Iowa is like a 97 or 6% white state. And so when I went there, it was a culture shock for me because I had never went to school with any white people. I had always went to all Black schools in elementary, middle school, high school. So walking into one of my classes, or my first class, where like my freshman year rhetoric or something like that, and it's 200 people, and I see maybe like 3 Black people, like me and like 2 other people, and then getting to know all the Black people on campus, it's like it's a small group of us. Like you got your people from Davenport, you got your people from Chicago, you got some Black people from here, from there, but it's like a really small little like group. So like paint me a picture on what it was like growing up in Iowa City. You know, in the 90s, was it different? Was it a bit different back then? Did it start to change? Like, just walk me through that a little bit.
Okay, so my earliest memories are of elementary school, and I went to a very diverse elementary school. Most elementary schools in Iowa City are predominantly white. I went to a school with a lot of people from different African nations and Hispanics and Asian. Actually, very diverse in my elementary school. Nice. The name was, and that was the most diverse I've ever remembered my school being. After that, when we made it to junior high, it got, I went to school with mostly white kids after that. From then all the way through college, it was, all the Black people who go there. Not some of the, all
right.
name them, where they live at, you know what I'm saying? Their families, their moms will speak to you. And it was very, as small as you feel with, just that group, it also feels very close knit. You know what I'm saying? Like, I feel like who I could lean on and I could talk to and I could joke with, who got, where I'm coming from with my, you know what I'm saying? Like, it's even not Black neighborhood, you grow up Black, it's like you have those same, I'm sorry, I put my phone on do not service still ringing, but you see the memes and stuff on Instagram and you'll think, wow, we all live the same childhood. You know what I'm saying? Growing up in Iowa did not change that for me. I have a very Black mom, a very Black dad, you know what I'm saying? And so having there, it was good for me, you know what I'm saying? And but in all my sports, all my activities, because I did a lot of music things. So like I played violin growing up in orchestra. I was the only Black girl in my high school orchestra.
Oh wow.
In show choir, me and all my siblings did show choir, and the Tutson, like people know the Tutsons. When my little brother graduated from high school, they gave him a shirt that said the last Tutson. My mom did the solo at the Parents Act. They gave him pictures. You know what I'm saying? Like, we're known for being kind of the Black kids in show choir who like go kill it. You know what I'm saying? Jazz choir and all that stuff. And a lot of the things I was involved in school, I was the only Black girl there. You know what I'm saying? And so I got pretty used to being that, if that makes sense. And it didn't bother me too much. There were, I've had things like that where I'll be like, but it's a very fine line when you go to an all-white school with white coaches and white teachers for you to voice yourself too loudly, if that makes sense. If you
it never felt weird for you because I didn't get into the arts until 3 years ago, as far as like acting and hosting something like this and writing. But I know that in the arts, that's a very intimate. It's a very intimate practice. Like, you know what I mean? Like, you kind of giving yourself, you being vulnerable. And even when you sing it, when you play an instrument. So to do that and know that you're the only Black person, that didn't bother you at all. Like, you just kind of like.
The only thing that bothered me with it is that we so my mom has 19 siblings, and so she grew up in Chicago, and a lot of my uncles and aunts live in Chicago and Mississippi, predominantly Black cities, and we go visit them all the time. And to see how their communities are, and like, spend summer times in Mississippi and see them, the way their music is and the things that they do. What bothered me, I will say, is that there was never a selection of Black artists that we chose from to sing a Black, or to play a Black musician in orchestra, or to, you know what I'm saying? And it's a very different style of music. You know what I'm saying? There's a big difference in the way we write, you know what I'm saying? And Black people have such range in their music, you know what I'm saying? It's not, I'm sure we could find something that fits our group.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? It's not like we all write one type of music. So I will say a couple of times I made requests to sing Black songs, and I'll tell you one time I was really bothered. We had a Martin Luther King song that we sang. It was called MLK. And we sang it for MLK Day at our concert. And this is not a time I requested. This is not one of the times I asked for. But I almost unanimously got the solo. You know what I'm saying?
I mean, of course.
I part of the song. And it was like, that was the only time that I was like truly, truly bothered. Because like I said, I was used to it by then. But the thing that bothered me most is that we didn't choose from any Black artists, but singing with in a crowd of white faces didn't bother me because I was so used to it. But I did wish that I would be represented more.
Okay, I got you. Yeah, I appreciate your honest candor with that, because I couldn't imagine being in the arts. I mean, I was in the church choir for some years growing up, but like I said, my church is all Black.
You were the siblings.
You said what?
I said me and my siblings were the church choir. There's 6 of us, and they called us the Tutson singers, and we sing at different. We travel. We'd sing at our church, and we travel at a different, like a guest church. If people would invite us, we'd be at church all day, and we'd sing all day. So.
Oh wow, that's that's crazy. I know all of you are musically inclined, so that's dope that you all can share that kind of talent. So yeah, talk about like once you started to come into your own in high school, as far as shot put, as far as discus, and then possibly started like because I don't know how recruiting goes when it comes to track and field. But talk about when you started hearing from like colleges, or did you kind of already know you wanted to throw shot and discus in college? Like walk me through that process a little bit.
Okay, so in high school, I had started throwing shot put and discus in junior high, and going into high school, I had a couple different coaches. And so I kind of had 3 different styles. I had 3 different coaches, and I ended up having 3 different styles, trying different things, but I ended up having a lot more success in discus than shot put. And then of course, Iowa doesn't have javelin like most states do. And so those were my only recruiting tools to go through. But I did track, and then I did basketball, and I did volleyball. And volleyball is not ever something I wanted to follow, but I actually wanted to play basketball in college really bad. And I got way more D2 offers than D1. And that kind of took me down a level, because I'm like, I must be better at track than basketball. And I did not think that, you know what I'm saying? I thought I was basketball. So I got
you thought basketball was your number 1 sport.
I did. I absolutely did. That was really humbling, actually, that I got all these D2 offers, and I'm like, I want to play at a D1 school, and I got D1 offers for track. You know what I'm saying? But Iowa, I ended up going to Iowa. Coach Capos actually came to. He was the throwers coach at Iowa when I was in school. He came to talk to my mom and everything like that, and they had a little intimate conversation. They made me an offer, and of course, I had already had like academic that Iowa had offered me and things like that. And so it was kind of an easy choice for me to go to Iowa, because first of all, location, they offered me more money than like Mizzou, and like Mizzou wanted to put me on like a 30% or something like that. You know, the other big schools that I actually looked at, their percentages were lower than Iowa's. So it was kind of like a cheaper tuition and a higher scholarship. It was, you know,
it was like a no-brainer almost.
Yeah, but I actually looked at a lot of. My mom took me to a lot of HBCUs, and then my high school mentor, Mr. Harper, he takes us on tours of HBCUs with the. I actually started a academic group in high school for Black kids. You know, to help more Black kids in Iowa City go to college, and so. Me and my high school mentor and a bunch of my friends started this group that actually still travels to this day. And so we did tours of HBCUs.
Nice.
And
is that what drew you to look for like coaching opportunities like at HBCUs as well, or?
No, I actually had no intention of becoming a coach. None. That's what I'll talk about that after the recruiting, I guess.
Yeah. We'll get to that.
Yeah. I wanted to HBCU, but I could not find a program at an HBCU that I felt was top tier, if that makes sense. As far as looking at the recruits that go to Iowa and looking at the recruits that go to Alabama State or things like that. As far as you know what I'm saying? Black schools have a lot of speed, I'll say that, with track and field, but I couldn't find the competition I wanted to with throwing, and that's what I did. So I decided to go to a PWI in my home state, and it was easy. It was an easy transition to move down the street, get the money. Yeah.
Right. I was just about to ask, like, that's always my question. How was the transition? Because my transition was extremely tough. Like being in a predominantly white state and city. I remember, because I had never even, it is funny, I had never like hung out with white people. Like literally, if I went to a bar or something like that, I've never hung out with white people. So like I've never even had like lengthy conversations with white people, other than like if we played a white high school in basketball or football, and we didn't really talk. We would talk trash, but that was pretty much it.
Right.
I didn't have any white friends. So coming to Iowa City and like people from different places talk certain ways, from New York, Florida, Texas, whatever. So saying little stuff like for show and like that means for sure. And
Yeah.
just my little Ohio lingo, like
Yeah.
I felt like people wasn't receiving it well. So I felt like it took me like 6 months to feel like not accepted, but just like comfortable in Iowa City. It took me a while. I felt like an outcast like for a little bit. So that's funny that you say that your transition was like super easy. Obviously, like you said, you just move right down the street and it's super easy. So during your career, because you came out of high school 2009, right?
Yes. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So during your career from 2009 and 2013, what moments like stood out to you? I know I read that you were an honorable mention All-American your senior year, finished at 22nd overall.
Mm-hmm.
So what moments stood out to you? And I remember 2009 was our best football season that I was ever a part of. We ended up being like number 3 or number 4 in the country. And so
Yeah.
that was your freshman year.
I
So I'm
think
sure
both.
that was
both-
yeah, that was Orange Bowl. That was
Yeah.
Orange Bowl. And I just remember the campus was like bananas that whole fall.
Oh
So
yeah.
talk about some moments like, just that stand out to you while you were there.
Um, I don't know. A lot of my moments are that really stick out in my head are not the most positive. I have some really positive, some really highs, but I think the
Okay,
things
give me the negatives. Yeah, I like
okay
that.
that shaped me the most were the lows. So, like you said, I went to nationals and I was All American my senior year, but I competed freshman year through senior year, and every year during regular season, I threw what it took to make it to nationals. I threw what it took to place at nationals at every
Mhm.
meet. You know what I'm saying? I was never like I was never really bad at discus. You know what I'm saying? Like shot put, I had to build some. Hammer, of course, I came in. I had to learn hammer as a freshman because you don't throw that in
Mhm.
high school. And those are the things I had to build on and get better at. But discus was my thing. And so every year I'd make it to regionals. I made it to regionals every year and I bombed. I bombed every year at regionals, and I would sit there and I would watch people who didn't throw as far as I do on a normal basis at regular meets
Yeah,
make it to nationals. And then I'd watch nationals and I'd be like, I can throw that. I would place at
yeah.
nationals throwing what
When
I'm throwing now.
when you say you bombed, like because I threw shot put in high school, but I didn't throw anything else. But was your technique like? Did you mess up in your technique, or like did you not? Was your hips just not there, or like what you feel like you messed up on?
I was a mental head case. I was literally, I had for 3 years, I worked on nothing but mental. Well, the first year, I didn't even realize how much it was affecting me. So I'll say for 2 years. My freshman year, I did not understand, even as my coaches tell me, I do not understand how much my mental is affecting me. I would get there and I'd be so nervous. And
Okay,
then after I throw one bad throw, I would never recover. You know what I'm saying? I would
okay,
just start off my head like, like negative talk to myself and feeling frustrated.
yeah, okay. Kind of you
Eventually,
you 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 kind of talk yourself out of it, like
yes,
you lose your confidence. You lost your confidence a little bit.
yes, I would
Okay,
plummet. And it never, it didn't click until my sophomore year. I you know, that I was good at what I do. I felt like that was a cocky thing to say, you know what I'm saying? Like I am a great discus thrower. I can say that now. Like
yeah,
I'm what I do. But
yes,
back
yes. Positive self talk. You got to speak it to believe it.
it's crazy to me how much that changed my life because afterwards you'll see if you just look at the track meets, you'll see me start winning more and more track meets as I'm going through my years. And I'll,
Yeah,
of course, getting older and getting stronger because like in high school we didn't have weight room or anything like that. We had 3 different coaches and it's not really, you know what I'm saying? It's just
yeah,
really up.
yeah, yeah.
When I got a solid program, of course you're going to see me excel, but
Right.
I didn't make it to nationals until I decided to make it to nationals. You
Okay.
know what I'm saying? When I stopped being a head case, I started winning more meets, but I'd still go to regionals and bomb because that's when I would lose it all. I don't know why. I get to regionals, I'd be like, dang, last year I came here and I bombed. I got to do good. I'd overpressure myself, or I'd be
Yeah,
super nervous, and it wouldn't
yeah.
work out. My senior
Okay.
year was the time I went there and I was relaxed and I threw and I was joking and talking in between throws, and you know what I'm saying? Easy to make it to nationals. And then I got to nationals in the same mindset. But the thing is, all of those experiences every year, regionals fail, regionals fail, regionals fails, nationals fail, because I can see numbers that these girls are not better than me. And at the regular meets, these girls don't beat me. that kind of built me, you know what I'm saying, in my competition afterwards. I'll say that. Like, there's no way I would be who I am today without have been in, you know, if I wasn't a head case when I was. You know what I'm saying? I
Okay.
had
Okay.
to stop.
Yeah,
Have
you had to go through that to learn and develop a technique or some kind of positive self-talk to get yourself out of that mindset, to get yourself
yeah.
into more of the positive mindset. Like, nah, like I'm supposed to be here. I've
Yes.
done my thing. I'm like I can do this type. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. And the thing
I
is
got you.
too that I don't even know why I ever believed that, because I'd go to my freshman year at Big Tens, I got a silver medal. You know what I'm saying?
Wow.
Like the big meet, you know, the bigger meets, I guess, where you have to actually qualify for. I made those meets all the time. I always qualify for Drake. I won Drake my senior year. You know what I'm
Yeah.
saying? It wasn't like my numbers were saying that I don't belong here. I just get to the biggest meet and I'd flip out. And I
And
don't know
just yeah,
why.
yeah.
Yeah.
Do like yeah, because for me that sounds like competitor anxiety or something like that. Like, you know, like you cool the whole week of preparation. You like, you know, you're supposed to be there, but as soon as it's time to compete, as soon as like it's time to get to it, like then you get nervous. But that's dope and amazing that you were able to figure out that problem, and then as you got older and developed. Because I tell people all the time that period of 18 to 22, like it, you go through so many changes. Like you're trying to find yourself as like as a
Yeah.
young adult. Like you're not a complete adult yet. You're still a college student, but you go through so much. Your body changes from 18 to 22. You change as a person. Your personality changes. Like you figure out what you like, what you don't like. You getting coached. I mean, and also people don't understand this that schedule with practice and
Oh
lifting
yeah.
and meetings and all your classes and study hall and homework and just I always tell people it's a full-time job and plus an overtime job.
Yeah.
So navigating through all that stuff, and then you got to deal with the emotional piece part of it too. Like you were saying, like you do well with everything leading up to it, but then when it's time, it's like you feel like you bomb. So, but that's cool that you developed into what you developed into, and
Yeah.
it's funny because you said you were like you said you was all American your senior year, but you placed and got silver your freshman year. So it sounds like you made the transition seem easy, and then like you finished really strong as well.
Yeah. I feel like I did. I'm proud of my career, even though on you know what, on paper it does actually look good, but to me, you know, you're your hardest critic. So
Yeah,
to me, on paper, it doesn't look the best, but I am actually very very proud of my career. Um, I was one of the 24 Hawks to watch. I got a Drake, you know, a Drake gold. You know what I'm saying? I did I did great things at Iowa, and I'm able to say that now without feeling like I'm being a cocky, like, you know, like I just
yeah,
feel like did what I was supposed to do. And some of my biggest moments came from negative things, which if you know me, that sounds really weird because I am the most positive and encouraging person. Like my athletes are always like, sometimes like you're overly hyped for us. You know what I'm saying? Like I'm a
yeah.
very positive person to everyone else. And so when people kind of see me down on myself, they're like, that doesn't even make sense.
Yeah,
But
yeah.
like,
They're like, what are you doing?
yeah, like even how you're talking about some of the emotional things that you go through with sports, people don't understand you have all of that, you know, that you listed, and then you have emotional things that are not tied to anything. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like
Hmm.
I really started to get into my sport, and because like I said, I wanted to do basketball. So at first it wasn't like my passion, but it was a way to
Hmm.
pay for, and it became
Right.
something I absolutely love after I went through one of the biggest traumas of my life. And it was the only time of the day that I wasn't thinking about it, when I was at practice. And that's when I really started to take off. And then
Okay.
like sophomore year, like it sounds so negative, but like sophomore year, I my high school rival, me and Courtney Fritz, she came to Iowa. I love Courtney to death. But Courtney Fritz was one person who I was so frustrated with in high school because she would win a meet, then I would win a meet. She'd win state, then I'd
Okay.
win,
Okay.
go
Okay.
back like that. So when she came to
Yeah.
Iowa, and she had like an elite coach in high school, so I was kind of like a little jealous of her, you know.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah. So she came to Iowa. Did you feel like she was coming for your spot or?
no, she came to Iowa, and the first day she got there, she walked in, and I started cracking up. We had a conversation. I said, Courtney, you know, you will never pick up a discus and beat me again. I got a program now. I'm lifting now. Like I have a coach. You know what I'm saying? Like you will never beat me again. And she never beat me again. And I say that as I was leaving out my senior year, and it's all love between me and her. But like my best, like when I really started to work, came after trauma, came after Courtney, came after, people are coming from my spot. Like I failed last year at this. That's when I did all my best work.
Yeah, that sounds like an athletic journey. Like you say, like when you reach those crossroads or you reach like an issue or a problem, something that's going to make you elevate your game. Like you either going to elevate it or you're not. And most of the time you elevate it because as an athlete, you're that ultimate competitor.
Right.
Yeah. That's dope. That's dope.
Nature just be like, I got to get it.
Exactly. I can totally attest to that. Especially playing football at Iowa. Obviously, we had a bunch of
freeze. Oh, okay.
I froze a little bit. Am I still froze?
Yeah, you like. Okay, I got you back.
Okay. Dang. See, it was going good. All right. So talk about after you graduated from the University of Iowa, because that was a really hard time for me trying to figure life out, trying to figure out what I should do next. So when you graduated in 2013, what was your next action step? Did you know you wanted to coach? Did you want to compete professionally? Did you want to go get a corporate job? Like what was your next action step after you graduated?
Well, I actually went and I did a GA with Alabama State, where I'm still coaching today. Okay. I actually got an offer from the head, and I like I said, would do the tours of the HBCUs with my high school mentor, and my friend Bree was coming to school here, so I helped her move down here. We drove all her stuff down here and everything, and I did orientation with her and stuff, and I ended up just running into Coach Bean, who was the head coach here. And he told me he was a track coach. And I said, I do track at Iowa, you know what I'm saying? So we had a conversation and everything. And, we just kind of kept in contact. He offered me a GA to come down here and coach. But I kind of got thrown into coaching because, when you're doing your GA, you kind of are under another coach and you're learning how to,
Right. You're learning the whole process.
Yes. Literally right before I came, the Thor's coach that was here left. And so I was kind of like, you're the head person. You're going to teach these people how to throw. And I'm like, what? So I kind of got thrown head coaching. And I don't know where the passion came from. I absolutely love it now. Because the first year, I had just graduated. So I had a couple people there that were literally my age. It wasn't like, you know what I'm saying? These are my peers. And I'm supposed to be like, you're
supposed to be coaching them up. You're supposed to be coaching them up. But you like a year or two older than them.
Yeah. And so these are like my peers I'm coaching. For one, for two, I've never ever coached before, never considered coaching before. I got kind of convinced to come do the GA. And so I just took on to it. The first year I was real timid about everything, all my original thoughts. You know what I'm saying? I would just stick to whatever I did at Iowa, and I'd be like, well, we did this, let's do these drills, let's do that. And by the end of year 2, I had my own program. I did my own research and all that type of stuff. And I was just going for it. And I was finding stuff that worked. I failed with a couple things. I succeeded with a couple others. And I've just been going for it ever since. So, but athletically, I was still competing. I am still competing. This will be my last year actually throwing a discus. I say that every year, but last year I didn't get to compete because of COVID. So, actually, when I graduated, I was number 18 in the country. I was just shy of making it to the USA's, getting invited to USA's. They invited, I think, the top 16 people. They can invite anywhere up to people. I was like number 18, and they invited the top 16, and I was so hurt.
I know you was.
So I wanted to keep competing for sure, but it is the transition for me that was the hardest, was not having anyone else to train with. You know what I'm saying? Like, of course, I'm coaching a team, but I'm doing everything else on my own. Like my own, like I practice on my own, I lift on my own. And there's a time when I stopped. I stopped throwing. I stopped working out. I stopped everything, weightlifting or anything. And you'll see, like, if you can see my pictures from that time, I just got really big. because I was
you was just going through something. You was going through something.
Going through it, and I was plateauing in my numbers. And it's like, how I've been throwing the same thing for a year, like, a year, 2 years in a row, I threw the same exact thing. And I'm like, I felt like I had built a lot of my career on my own at Iowa, which is kind of sucky because we actually had a coach. We were real up and down. That's a whole nother story. But a lot of things that I learned at Iowa, that I built at Iowa, I did on my own. And when I got here, I felt like I plateaued with trying to teach myself, trying to coach myself, and I needed something different. And I plateaued for 2 years, and I was like over it. I was like, I don't know. I felt like this was for me. I was the highest in the country. I'm competing with people who are making it to trials now. And I feel like I belong here, but I'm not. I'm always on the brink of not making it. You know what I'm saying? I'm better than the collegiate throwers, but I'm not quite as good as the people who are.
You're like right in the middle.
Yeah. And so I kept feeling that way, and I just gave up for a while. But I'm back at it. I feel like I have something in it. Everything sounds crazy to other people until they do it. Like one day they're saying like how crazy you are, and the next day they're telling somebody that they know you. You know what I'm saying? It's like, I feel like I have it. And I feel like that's not even a cocky thing to say. I feel like I can do that. You know what I'm saying? I can do this. And so I am competing another year. And I did compete my first year, but I am very passionate about coaching now. I love it. And even though I got my, I finished 2 degrees here actually.
You got 2 masters?
I have 2 masters, yes. I did the clinical mental health counseling at first, and I was almost through with the program that I realized it was not going to be a career for me. It's very
were you going to do sports therapy?
No, I'm going to actually do like counseling sessions, like
just normal therapy. Okay,
just normal therapy. And I thought, looking into it, I thought it was going to be a program that I would really love, and I did like the program, the classes, but as a career, I got to the end of the counseling program, and I was like, I would not be able to do this for the rest of my life. Like, it seems so draining. You know what I'm saying? Even, counselors have to have counseling sessions and stuff like that. Like, people pour into all that type of stuff, and it's like, and then too, it's not, maybe this sounds bad, but I feel like you should get paid more for doing that. Like, it's not good money for how much emotional I'm an emotionally attached person. Like, I cry times after sessions with I worked at a juvenile detention center, and some of the I held it together during the session. I cried literally. I feel like it's draining for me to do. So then I ended up going into an accounting session, which my best friend actually introduced me to. He was studying for his CPA, and he just kept asking me questions. He's like, "You're picking this stuff up fast, and this is not like easy stuff." And so I did accounting, and I do have to work in accounting at some point. I love coaching, and I don't, but I do feel like it's more lucrative, and I do like accounting. It's, it's fun to me, but I'm not happy about it.
So you got a master's in mental health counseling and accounting?
Yes.
Wow.
Yep. So I had to take off.
That's different.
I have during my master's classes, I had to take prereqs sometimes in the daytime that I didn't have, fun stuff like that. But it took me about 6 months longer than everybody else to do that, but it was worth it.
Yeah, that's dope. But like you said, even having those master's degrees, because I know a few therapists, and I know that they start off with like a kind of a pretty basic salary. Like you said, it's not like overwhelming. Like you said, you would think therapists make more, but I do know that like the longer you're in the game, usually like you start to like that salary tends to go up, but it just depends on what kind of company you're working for, or if you start your own private practice, things of that nature.
Private practice, I think, is a real way to make real money, but you have to, when you graduate, to do a private practice, you have to pay somebody to watch you. You know what I'm saying? Like, then I have to pay someone. How am I gonna pay out money? I just graduated, and I'm, you know what I'm saying? I'm not even working for real. I'm paying you to supervise me so I can have a private practice. It just didn't make sense for me.
Yeah, I totally get you. I totally get you. So with you coaching and pouring into younger athletes now, but like you said, you still train hard, you still compete. Like, do you feel that you channel, like, do you channel any of like your like grit and tenacity from like your individual sessions and how you train? Do you try to bring that into your like coaching technique, or like do you just completely separate the two?
No, I absolutely bring it together. Like sometimes they'll want me to throw with them, I'll throw with them, and I don't know. I just feel like a lot of the things that drove me or kept me going or kept me mentally strong or that have worked well for me, you know, just physically, I try to introduce as much of it as I can to them, because I wish somebody would tell me some of these things when I was still in college. You know what I'm saying? It's like,
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. It's just, if you know, when you say you have children, right? You want to
Mm-hmm.
teach them things that you know now that you never knew growing up, because you just feel like it'll make their life easier. And I feel like I wanted the personality I have. I wanted a coach who was overly encouraging, who was positive minded, who could see my small victories. I say that to all the time. You need to count your small victories. You cannot focus on the critiques. You need to count your small victories. You know what I'm saying? We are improving. We're making progress, and you don't have it all down packed the way you want it right now, but you're looking for the same way I was looking for in college. You're looking for microwave results. You want to pop it in the microwave in 30 seconds, get out a great throw. You have got to let it sit in an oven bake. This is going to be reps after reps after reps, and you have to be able to willing to go through it. You know what I'm saying? So I feel like a lot of that I didn't understand mentally and physically, I absolutely teach my students from the first day they step on the track with me. Walk-ons, scholarship students, it doesn't matter. Like we just had indoor championships this week. I was at indoor championships, and my kids, before they throw, they have their dynamic warm-up, and they need to have enough time to take 2 minutes of visualization where they're over and over in their mind, going through their steps and what they want to do, what they want to accomplish, how they see themselves coming out. 2 minutes of prayer, which is also something, side note, I love about HBCUs. I don't know if this is good to say, like, to the public, but we do not like shy away about our spirituality. It's not like a thing of we're trying not to offend other people. Like if you pray, you pray with us, and if you don't, fine. You know what I'm saying? No one's forcing you to pray, but the fact that we can have a team prayer, I love that about HBCUs, about the school I'm at now. We would never.
Okay, I got you. Yeah,
I'm sorry.
that's no. I said I got you, and that's dope. That, like you said, HBCUs allow you all to have an open spirituality.
Yeah.
That's.
I think if I was somebody would have taken the time to develop me mentally and not, you know, just get frustrated and be like, well, if she's a head case, she's a head case. I have some head cases just like myself, and it makes me laugh because it's like, this was me. But I take the time literally every day to talk to them where they're at, and how they can build, and what talk they need to be saying it before they can see it. You know what I'm saying? Like, say that I'm great at this for me once I started winning meets and stuff like that. But if I had told myself how great I was before I ever lifted a weight and like had that positive self-talk, my career would have been up so much faster than it. You know what I'm saying? It matters. It really does. So I try to bring everything.
Definitely. You get me hype over here. All right. So last question. Last question. What would you say is Majesty Tutson's after effect, even though you're still actively competing? What were some lessons that you learned, you know, from middle school to high school to college to professional to even coaching now, that you take and you, like you said earlier, ingratiate into your athletes that you coach now, you know, really, as we just try to push the culture forward, which you are knee deep in?
I would say, for one, consistency is the key to almost everything. It really is. To like, I feel like I am a naturally athletic person. And so a lot of things that I did in high school, going into college, it just was easy for me. You know what I'm saying?
Came easy.
I didn't really know how much work it took to be on another level. Like, I feel like a lot of people who come to this program, the walk-ons kind of, in my experience, sometimes the walk-ons on the team work way harder than the people who are naturally talented to get there. You know what I'm saying? And I mean, I'm not saying every talented person is lazy or anything like that, but I was that person. I was that person who was like, I've just always been good at this. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like, this is just something I just picked up, and I wasn't even passionate about it. And I get offers and stuff more than I for basketball, and I was passionate about that. You know what I'm saying? Like,
I got.
And I starting to be consistent with what you're doing and being a student of your sport was important. I didn't used to watch videos and research throwers and techniques and drills and with whatever you could fit into that 2-hour practice time with me. That was it. That was what we was doing. It wasn't nothing like, you know what I'm saying? So I would say be a student of whatever it is you're doing, whether it be sports or otherwise, but especially sports. You need to know who's the best in your field. You need to know what's the best way for, you know what I'm saying? Because every technique doesn't work for everybody in throwing. I don't know how, you know what I'm saying, other sports work. I'm sure there's a lot of universal things that people teach, but every technique does not work for you. You have to be willing to try something and fail. You know, I've changed my technique like in a really big way for a whole 6 months. And it ended up being something that just did not work for me. But I knew that I wasn't going to try it one day and like, you know, understand whether it works for me. And I had to put in reps over time and see, I had to figure out, no, this really doesn't work for me. You know what I'm saying? But I was willing to put time in. So I would just say every sport being consistent. And of course, we talked about the mental a lot, but I think that talking to God is, it leaps and bounds in what you do. In my opinion, I don't dictate what nobody believes in. You know what I'm saying? Because it's like Jesus gives free will. Oh, you know, you choose how I'm going to tell you what to believe. You know what I'm saying? I can witness to, choose not to. You know, whatever you believe in, whatever your faith is in, even if it's not in a God, if you're an atheist, if you have faith in something, you hold on to it, you nurture that, and you make it part of what you do, a big part of what you do. And that it gives you so much heart, it gives you so much drive, it gives you so much mental stability when you start really trying to nurture that. You know what I'm saying? Everything that I do, I pray about. When I go to practice, we pray. At the beginning of practice, at the end of practice, we pray. Before they compete, they pray. You know what I'm saying? They visualize and they talk to God about what they want to do. And it makes a difference.
Yeah, that's powerful.
Yeah.
That's a powerful after effect, and I appreciate you sharing. Well, yeah, that's all I had. I appreciate you joining. Something that I've been trying to pride myself on. 2020 was the weirdest year to date. Like we talked about earlier, we've never walked through a coronavirus pandemic. So I've been trying to make sure I give people flowers while they're still here. So you know, I mean, like you said, I read online all the accolades, all the awards. I can truly say that like I'm super proud of you. Keep going, keep killing it. I mean, you got a bachelor's, you got 2 masters, you coaching, you competing, you already got a bunch of awards and accolades. So yeah, keep putting on for your family, keep pointing to current collegiate athletes. And I just want to show you that love face up, you know, eyes to eyes, you know, while we both still here. Because you know, 2020 was weird.
Yeah, I appreciate that. I appreciate you giving people a platform to speak their mind and what they feel about their story, because it's, you know, that's an important thing for people to feel like their story matters. This is a good platform for them.
Yeah, it's a journey. It's a journey, and it's so cool to see people people's different journeys, and you know, hear them speak about it. I'm passionate about storytelling, and like I told you before, I just feel like it's power in our story. So if nobody believes it, I believe it. So like, yeah, that's where the idea and the platform came from. So yeah, I appreciate you. Well, yeah, I appreciate you carving out the time. I know you're super busy. I didn't know you were a double master's major and coaching and still competing and all these different things. So I apologize for being annoying, but to be honest, I wanted to stay committed, and that's why I just kept, no matter the roadblocks, no matter what kept happening, I just kept like, okay, let's do it here, let's do it this day. I wanted to stay committed. So
you're not gonna get nobody. You're not gonna catch nothing if you just keep your mouth closed. You got to stay on it.
Exactly. Exactly. Well, yeah. Yeah, have a great weekend, and yeah, we'll be in touch.
All right, have a good one.
Yeah, so I thought Majesty obviously, you know, has a great story. Growing up in Iowa City, Iowa, it was so cool to get an inside look from her on what that was like from her viewpoint, right? Especially being black in a predominantly white city and state. It was so cool to get those details about what she went through as a child and matriculating to, I believe she went to City High and then attended the University of Iowa, was all got 4 years from 2009 to 2013. Now she is a coach, coaching at a HBCU and a master's student. Well, I actually think she got 2 masters already. So yeah, I appreciate Majesty for jumping on. I hope you all enjoyed this episode. If you're listening, please leave a review or rate us. If you're watching on YouTube, be sure to like this video and leave a comment or a question, and I'll be sure to get back to you as soon as possible. So until the next time, peace.
Subscribe to LeBron Daniel TV, but you already knew that, where we dig deep and find our hustle, and every single day we are better than yesterday. Subscribe.